Internet Accountability Project President Mike Davis. Gentlemen, thank you both. Mike, to you first. I want you to listen to the House Intel Chair, Mike Turner, and then I'll get your response on the backside. Watch.
It's very troubling that the search continues, and yet the Department of Justice is standing down where they raid Donald Trump's home. So I think there's also questions that we need to have answered about what's in these documents. Why did he have them?
What's in the documents, Mike? Why did he have them, and why is the information being withheld?
Yeah, this is a much more troubling than President Trump's documents, because President Trump, as a former president, had the constitutional and statutory right to take his presidential records when he left office. Classified or not, that's why he gets secure office space, federally funded staff, Secret Service protection, security clearances. That's not the case for former vice presidents. They are absolutely not allowed to take presidential records when they leave office, especially not classified records. So you have to ask, why did former Vice President Joe Biden take these records? And it wasn't just a mistake. He had them in 2 different locations, and he moved them at least twice.
Right. That's a very good point. Richard, do you think that Attorney General Merrick Garland should appoint a special counsel to look into the Biden documents?
Listen, I think we're going to have to wait to see what happens there, but let's be very clear about what's happening as we speak. As we speak, one of the Trump-appointed U.S. attorneys in the city of Chicago is reviewing this case to see if there was any legal wrongdoing done by the current president of the United States. With that being said, in the case of former President Donald Trump, when Mar-a-Lago, there was a subpoena issued by a federal judge that believed that the president was engaging in some form of crime. This is not happening in the case of Joe Biden. In the case of Joe Biden, these documents were found and they're now returned to the National Archives where they belong. And let's clarify one thing for the record. A president cannot take out classified documents just because he feels like it.
A president can declassify documents, which was Mike was just saying.
Yes,
a vice president cannot declassify. When we haven't seen the opposite evidence,
documents.
And we haven't seen any evidence that he did not declassify them, and that's an important point here. And secondly, these documents were found 2 months ago, Mike, 2 months ago, and they were not revealed before November 8th, the midterm elections. They also were not revealed before they appointed a special prosecutor to go after the Trump documents. And we do not know when today's documents or the disclosure of the documents, when they were found or where they were found. These are all big, big points.
Yeah, this is absolutely a political cover-up by Attorney General Merrick Garland and the Biden Justice Department. Like you said, they found these documents on November 2nd, 6 days before the midterm elections. Attorney General Merrick Garland appointed a special counsel to go after Trump on November 18th. Why didn't he mention that he had these documents, these stolen classified documents in Biden's possession during that time? Why did we wait 2 months for him to come out with this? This is clearly a political cover-up.
I want to read some of this. This is President Biden's op-ed in the Wall Street Journal. It says, quoting here, like many Americans, I'm concerned about how some in the industry, he's talking about big tech, collect, share, and exploit our most personal data, deepen extremism and polarization in our country, tilt our economy's playing field, violate the civil rights of women and minorities, and even put our children at risk. That's a big slam from the president against an industry that has very much leaned in his favor. Richard, your last thoughts on this?
Look, I think what the president's saying there is we do have a problem when it comes to how social media platforms deal with the public. We know for a fact that social media platforms cause a higher suicide rates amongst teenagers. We know they cause eating disorders because of the information they send folks. And we also know that while TikTok is illegal in the United States, it's illegal in the country of China, where the owners of that company is. So we need to be having a conversation, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, about how we rein in these social media companies and ensure that our children aren't suffering from them.
Yeah, interesting. Richard Fowler, Mike Davis, gentlemen, thank you both.
Good to see you. Take care.